Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Uncomfy Truths. I am your host, Conspiracy Brother. Conservative Brother, being joined today by my co host, Conspiracy Brother. And we are back
Looks like
for
we're switching
episode
places.
6. Oh, yeah. So, once again, guys, I even got a little tagline now I want to try out on you guys. So, welcome back to Uncomfy Truths. And basically, with that, providing your daily dose of unapologetic black face trapped in a woke white place, continuing to spread common sense in a nonsense world. And yeah, basically, this is what we're gonna do. You know. Um, yep. So, how you doing out there, conspiracy brother?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. I went to see the Wolverines today. So I
All
got
right.
a chance to go and share a moment with my family. My daughter's first college football game.
Nice.
She wanted this for her birthday, so I was able to go and have that time with her. And Michigan State is losing, and Ohio State is having a hard time. So
Oh,
uh, it's a great night. It's a great night for me, and I want to get into this conversation with you. Just to get back into it. I guess since we go switch places, I'll be conservative, brother. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, for sure,
But
for sure. And I got a topic ready for us too. Whenever you're ready, I'll go
okay,
ahead and share the screen. I know we
yep,
dove
yep.
a lot into on the Trump FBI raid lately, along with obviously the death of the Queen. I think we covered that. I don't think we covered that yet. But before we get to that, um, whenever you're ready, I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen, so you can go ahead and
Yep, pull
share
it
for
up.
me,
Okay.
conspiracy brother, and we'll get right into this one.
All right, here we go.
All right. So the Canada stabbings. So those of you guys that know, I'm gonna dive into this read real quick. This is local news, so shouldn't take too long to get through it. But those of you guys know, obviously, there was a stabbing. Over 10 people got stabbed in Canada. Rampage. I don't know all the specific details. I've just kind of heard things about it online, but we're gonna officially get the scoop. All right. So the final suspect in a stabbing rampage that killed 10 people around a Canadian Indigenous reserve died after being arrested by police Wednesday following a manhunt that stretched more than 3 days, authorities said. One official said he died of self inflicted injuries. Miles Sanderson, 32, was caught on the highway near Rosthern in the province of Saskatchewan as officers responded to the report of a stolen uh, a vehicle being driven by a man armed with a knife, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police said. Officers forced Sanderson's vehicle off the road and into a ditch. Assistant Commissioner Rhonda Blackmore, commander of the RCMP in Saskatchewan, said at a news conference he was detained and a knife was found inside the vehicle. She said Sanderson went into medical distress after he was arrested. She said CPR was attempted on him before an ambulance arrived. She said emergency medical personnel then took him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. All life-saving measures that we are capable of were taken of at that time. She said Blackmore gave no more details on the cause of death. I can't speak for the specific manner of death, she said. But an official who spoke on the condition of the anonymous, whatever, earlier said Sanderson died of self-inflicted injuries without giving any further details. Video and photos of the scene showed a white SUV off to the side of the road with police cars all around. Airbags have deployed in the SUV. Some photos and videos was taken from a distance, showing Sanderson being frisked. His death came near 2 days after the body of his brother, 30-year-old Damian Sanderson, was found in a field near the scene of the rampage, which also wounded 18 people. Police are investigating whether Miles Sanderson killed his brother. Blackmore said that both men dead had will find it hard to figure out what set off the rampage. All right. Want me to keep reading, or you want to, or anything you want to expound on, conspiracy brother?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind was that I think we need to ban all Cuisinart and J.H. Henkel's and Fukushima knives and all that because
Yeah.
if we could just take all the knives away from everybody, all the law-abiding citizens, I'm sure the criminals would not stab people with them.
Yeah,
That's
the solution.
That
Knife control. We want knife control.
It seems like the best plan to me, that we have to do something like that. Get rid of the knives. Get rid of the knives, and there'll be no more stabbings.
Yeah, I'm not reading all this. I didn't realize how long it was, but basically, yeah, this is kind of just one of those things where, all right, I'm gonna skim through here a bit. Many of Sanderson's crimes were committed when he was intoxicated, according to court records. Then over here, we also have Miles Sanders' childhood was marked by violence, neglect, substance abuse, blah blah blah. He was indigenous. A lot going on. Yeah, they're kind of just sort of stabbed some people. 2018, god damn, he stabbed 2 men with a fork while drinking and beating someone self-conscious. So this dude had a lot of violent history, but it's showing that I think he had an accomplice. I think from what the article was saying, it had to be at least 2 men. I mean, one guy couldn't go around doing all this, right?
I believe his accomplice was murdered already, or killed, or whatever you want to call it. He had already gotten dealt with.
Oh, okay. So basically, the two went at it, killed the 10 people, then he stabbed him.
No. I think the police killed him, but I'm not. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yep. And once again, the stabbing rampage raised questions on why Miles Sanders, an ex-con with 59 convictions and a long history of shocking violence, was out on the streets in the first place. And this goes back into the George Soros-funded prosecutors that are light on crime the past 5-10 years. We still got our brothers and sisters locked up from the Biden crime bill over little ounces of marijuana, and they got dealt with harshly, harsh sentences, no leniency. And then we have non-violent offenders that these George Soros-funded prosecutors let walk free. But let me read the rest of this. He was released by a parole board in February after serving a sentence of over 4 years on charges that included assault and robbery. But he had been wanted by police since May, apparently for violating terms of his release, though the details were not immediately clear. His long and lurid rap sheet also showed that 7 years ago, he attacked and stabbed one of the victims killed in the weekend rage. So he came back 7 years later, finished the person off. A Canadian public safety minister said there would be an investigation in the parole hearing. I want to know the reasons behind the decision. This is the golden nugget right here. I want to know the reason behind the decision to release him. I'm extremely concerned on what occurred here. A community has been left reeling. And I bet, bro, if we follow the money of whatever this county or province is, Saskatchewan, let's look up and see who the DA is, or their version of the DA, the prosecutor, and who's funding that. And I wouldn't be shocked if George Soros, Klaus Schwab, or some link at the top of the Economic Forum is funneling and placing these people here. Because once again, this is Trudeau. This is Trudeau territory. So it wouldn't shock me. And those guys know Justin Trudeau. Joseph Trudeau is one of Klaus Schwab's young
leaders. So young global leaders.
Young global leaders.
It is widely known that a lot of the WEF young global leaders are in the Canadian, not Parliament, but in his administration. Krista Freeland, who is the deputy prime minister, I believe she's also the finance chair, has ties to neo-Nazism in Ukraine through her grandfather. If you look that up, I mean, this is a separate conversation, but if you just look up neo-Nazis in Canada and like Ukrainian Nazis, or not neo-Nazis, they're not neo-Nazis, Nazis. I'm not like old school, like during Hitler Nazis.
Neo-Nazis what? In Ukraine?
Nazis in Ukraine, yeah. In Canada. Ukrainian Nazis or Nazis in Canada. There are a lot of like Nazi graves. Like, I believe some town, I forget, but they had like a monument to a Nazi, Ukrainian Nazi, right? And so the mayor of this town, so originally, like citizens were vandalizing the memorial. So then the Ukrainians were coming out. The Ukrainian Canadians came out and like, hey, they're defacing our monument or whatever. And so like the mayor was like, oh, this is terrible. You shouldn't do this. That's wrong to do this. And then after he found out who the person was and actually that he was a Nazi or whatever, he says he wishes he could shut down the cemetery, but it's a private cemetery, so he can't. There's like a giant monument to this guy. And so like her grandfather was a Ukrainian Nazi collaborator. And she tried to pretend she didn't know, but she actually found out when she was doing some research with one of her in-laws or cousins or something about her grandfather, who was a Nazi collaborator, was like a publisher for a newspaper or whatever from Ukraine. She's been shown wearing the color scheme of a neo-Nazi or far-right Nazi Ukrainian organization, the National.
What's her name? This person's name?
Chrystia Freeland.
Okay, I'm gonna look her up. Chrystia Freeland.
Yeah, it might be Chrystia, like Kristya, but it's the Canadian Deputy Prime Minister. But yeah, so there you go. So it's with a Chrystya, Chrystia Freeland. That's her. But some people say that she's actually the brains behind the whole Canadian part. The not the parliament, but the government. Like Justin Trudeau is really just a face. The puppet. And that she's the one kind of in control of what's being done. But there are a lot of Ukrainians and a lot of Ukrainian Nazis in Canada.
Look at that. I think that photo just encapsulated what you just said, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look who's pulling the strings. That's my boy. That's my Castro.
And you can see the pictures of her like wearing the Nazi colored flag. It's like a red and black flag with yellow or gold writing on it. It's he was wearing Nazi colors. Yeah. Yeah. See. Yeah, there it is. See that flag right there? That looks like a banner. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. And so a tangent, but yes, the WEF through Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. The young global leaders have their hands in governments all over the country. It's widely known, and they so.
That's the problem, man. Basically, the young global leaders, right? Alumni,
right? Young global leaders,
and what they want chaos, they want order, they want disorder, so they can manufacture the crisis, so they can bring in the solution. So I think we got to get past why are these people? Why are they doing this? Why do they let criminals out on the street? Why did they let out 10,000 felons, inmates right before COVID? They're beyond plain stupid. I mean, they're not stupid. They're plain stupid. And then people go that aren't following shit go, oh, well, that's so weird. Why all this happening? They know what they're doing. They're telling you what they're going to do. We've had this discussion many times. It's just a matter of, look at this. It's just a matter of, basically realizing that they're doing all this for control and to usher in the new world order. But they could say it right to our faces, but people won't believe it. AOC's on the list, Trudeau, even Elon Musk. I'm not the biggest fan of Elon Musk. Obviously we had a show about him where we kind of hit on him. What he's doing for Twitter was great for exposing them, but there's still a lot of transhumanism and world agenda stuff that he's a part of. So, all right, moving on. Next topic we have here, I'm just going to go ahead and throw one up. Back to the FBI Trump raid. This is maybe about a week or so old, but, worth bringing up. So once again, Barr, Justice Department should appeal deeply flawed ruling approving special master in Trump's documents. So this talks about former attorney William Barr, which I don't know a whole lot about. Maybe Conspiracy Brother, you could hit in on it. It said a decision by a Florida judge to grant former President Donald Trump's request to a special master. I never even heard what a special master is, but to review the documents seized by the FBI from Mar-a-Lago.
It's essentially a third party to review documents that were obtained via the search of Mar-a-Lago. to make sure like nothing is being used improperly or no information is being taken improperly. That everything that is collected is pertinent to
Mm.
uh, the actual search and the warrant that it was requested under.
And what are your thoughts on that? I mean, at this point, it's like they're splitting hairs to death with this Mar-a-Lago raid. Obviously, I have some issues with it. Justice Department strongly opposed. The special master said that its own filter team already finished its review of the Mar-a-Lago document. I gotta stop right there. And this goes back to the bullshit. Like, we've been proven to have all these corruption and flaws, but we're gonna police ourselves. This right here is no better than when the CDC came out and admitted, like, yeah, we made some mistakes. Mask mandates are gone, vaccine mandates are gone. But you know what? We're going to open up a special internal investigation and know the CDC, we have to make some changes. What type of bullshit talking about, I'm just going to go and police myself and we're going to change, our ways and what we did, but we don't need anybody coming in. We're just going to go off and make the changes. It's like this is the same bullshit right here that the CDC cooks up. So to me, the DOJ is just as useless as the FBI and just as captured and corrupt, along with the CDC, in my opinion. Do you have any more thoughts on any of this? I just feel like it's just really annoying.
I mean, that's kind of the same corruption that you see with law enforcement in general, right? I mean, like I made a meme years ago, like a joke about the police, and it was a picture of Law and Order, like the cast of Law and Order SVU, and like it said, the only place Internal Affairs investigates the police, because like that's what you see. You see that happening a lot where like on Law and Order, it's always some kind of battle with Internal Affairs, and they're trying to figure out, hey, what did you do right or what did you do wrong, or what's the, you weren't following protocol. But like when it comes to actual police, like we see here, that Detroit police officer female got fired because she had OnlyFans, and they fired her within like a matter of weeks or days or whatever. But you have police officers who are like the one in New York who choked Eric Garner out using an illegal move, right? It had already been rendered illegal by the police. He was on desk duty for years, right? And so that's the problem you have. Like, they investigate themselves. It's all good. Nobody has any problems. And then you just move on. And so it's good that people are beginning, conservatives especially, because they have a lot stronger love for the Justice Department, or the Department of, not the Justice Department, but the justice system and the police forces and all this. So it's good that they're finally coming around to seeing how when you give the state these types of powers, like unmitigated power, how easily they can switch that around on you when they see fit. So you carry the water for these organizations, the FBI, the CIA, the police department, the sheriff, whatever it is. All however long it suits your needs. But as soon as they find out that you're their enemy now, they're going to turn on you, and then there's not going to be anybody to protect you, right? So we need these safeguards, and what we have to remember for everybody on both sides of the aisle is like, we can't always take the approach that, oh, it hurts my political enemy, so it's okay, or who I think the people who I think are my political allies are doing this, so it's okay, because it always leaves us open to attacks on our own person when those winds start to shift, the political winds shift, or the what do you call it, like the social winds shift, or the ideological winds shift, and then we find ourselves in the crosshairs, so.
Man, very great breakdown on that. All right, so I think one topic I want to get to, since we already hit on it, OnlyFans, the Detroit cop who lost her job after the department finding out that she has an OnlyFans page. So look at this. Basically, Janelle Zielinski turned in her letter of resignation to the DPD after finding out she had an OnlyPage fans. One of our officers through Instagram account had a paywall set up, posting pornographic videos on the other side of the paywall. Not bad looking. I don't know. Depends what you're into. Sure, it gets spicy. And basically, I don't know what that has to do with roof ads. But as you can see here, she posted, oh Lord, man, these ads are savage. All right, so effective September 23rd, since she was suspended, no longer working. So and so who does not Fox 2 legal analyst Charlie Langston, who does not subscribe to OnlyFans, but is aware of the website. So just had to get that out the way. Hey, I don't know that because, why are you snooping on her page though? The issue is she could lose her job for something she can do in her off hours. Honestly, I don't think that's right. I don't think she should have lost the job. Now, if there's a moral clause in there like it's showing over here, legally, yeah, the company has that right as they see fit. But I feel like if she read the fine print, and of course, a lot of these jobs they give you all this paperwork, but I think that's wrong technically. She's not doing anything illegal. It's a side hustle business. There's a lot of people, moral or not, she has the right to have her own business, her OnlyFans, whatever she popping locking on there. That's cool and all, but yeah, if the where you work at, whatever corporate plantation, they have that moral clause in there. Yeah, they can use that to fire you. Do I think it's right? No. But yeah, that's unfortunate. So conspiracy brother, your thoughts?
For me, I think it's important that we have distinctions between our workplace and she looks kind of rough though. She but I'll look at it like this. If you're a law enforcement officer, you should be held to a higher standard as it pertains to the law. Mm-hmm. That's the profession you chose. Now, I do think, I think what you do in your private life should be yours to be private with. I think that a lot of companies have overstepped, or they overstep our right to our private lives in a lot of ways, because they have these types of restrictions that they place on their employees that are outside of health and safety protocol, right? And I think in a lot of cases when we allow them to do this, what it does is it continues to give them more power and control over what happens to us, what goes on in our private lives and in our public lives. But, I think you find a lot of times with officers in general, and I don't think this is necessarily one of those situations, but you find that they are allowed to break laws and break rules and do things under the table, that shouldn't be acceptable, or that wouldn't be acceptable if me or you were to do it as private citizens. And so, you're in a tough position. And so, given the amount of power and leniency they have with other policies through their union, I think they almost just have to accept this because of the position they're in. You know what I mean? But I think for in general, for average people, this is a problem that we have, where we see jobs dictating behaviors on employees that do not pertain to health and safety or well-being. Like to say, let's say you were a pilot and you were drunk, or you had alcohol within a certain amount of time before your flight was scheduled. Well, that's an issue that I think, hey, you can't do this. But, if you work at McDonald's and you had a drink 8 hours ago, I don't think that's a problem. And I don't think that should be anybody's problem. If you work at McDonald's and you have an OnlyFans, I don't think that should be anybody's problem. If your personal family and your personal life is fine with your decision, your family, your friends, or whoever your personal circle is, that's your business, your prerogative.
Right.
So that's.
Yep. And, move over, Janelle. There's actually another cop who, similar situation earlier this year. I think January 2022, there was a cop out of Colorado, all right, who she decided to just go all in with OnlyFans, apparently. So I guess she got fired, had no option but to retire from the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Police Department. So, pretty much along the same lines, police veteran for 28 years, but it wasn't paying the bills like it probably was supposed to. An attempt to spice up her sex life with her husband. I don't know why y'all would keep that public, but I guess so. Received a $30,000 severance package. Right, not my type. But yeah, same thing, man. It's just honestly, once again, I think there is a moral issue with that, protecting the serve, but also at the same time, like I kind of got that libertarian live and let live side of me, where it's not. I'll still be able to sleep at night. This isn't oppressing me or infringing on my freedoms, as I like to say. All right, so next article: Hollywood signed to get a centennial facelift starting next week. So I haven't even read this article yet, but I shared this in the group chat, man. So I'm gonna make a prediction, conspiracy brother. It's either gonna be LGBTQ rainbow pride painted or BLM colors. That's my prediction. Before we even read the article, I'm putting my money down. It's gonna be either rainbow colored or just black and white BLM. What are your what are you predicting, man? Just want to get your thoughts. What do you think they're gonna?
I think it's definitely gonna have like some LGBT flag on some of those letters. I would not be surprised if you didn't see like a Mexican flag on some of them.
I stand with Ukraine.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, Ukraine may not be on there unless they're going to be doing something where they cycle it every so often.
Mm-hmm.
But like as a permanent, if this is just like a permanent one-time change, they're either going to do like I'm saying, like trying to represent their community, the different groups that make up the city, or they're going to maybe make like, I don't know if they'd actually take and change the letters entirely so that they like representative of the different like different symbols throughout the city of LA or whatever, Hollywood or whatever.
They're gonna do something either way. It's gonna do something to screw it up. And even the font is classic. So for do any little petty things such as we go in the first like 100-year history, we're gonna fucking change the color or do it, or I just think it just needs a new fresh coat of white paint. I gotten close to it. I got maybe 100 feet away from it. And it looked fine to me. But let's go ahead and see what they're going to do. All right. Just like many aging Tinseltown thespians and institutions over the years, Hollywood sign is about to get another facelift thanks to 400 gallons of paint. All right. In anticipation of Hill's landmark 100th anniversary in 2023, the 8-week-long refurbishment is set to start on September 19th. The sign is the pride. You already know pride. And we are excited as fans all over the world to see this makeover for the 100th anniversary. The opportunity for Sherwin-Williams on this extensive project will help continue the legacy of the sign, a symbol of a place where magic is possible and every dreams can come true. He added of the nearly perfected time endeavor between the Emmys and the Oscars. With each letter on the sign rising 45 feet, blah, blah, blah. Crew workers will prep, power wash, prime, and paint the 9-letter display. Okay, just add some white paint to it. Blah, blah, blah. LA Commercial Company starting on Monday. Once that portion is done, priming and actual painting will happen. This is actually the second time in a decade that Truss and Sherwin-Williams teamed up back in 2012. Who gives a shit? Beacon of City. All right, well, I think we jumped the gun. Thank God. But hey, it looked like it's showing all this other shit. All right. Favorite backdrop, blah, blah, blah. All the history. Originally intended, only last couple years. Wow, that looked horrible. I wonder when that was. See the Hollywood sign all beat up? 70s.
That was probably in the 70s. It seemed like everything in America was falling apart in the 70s.
Yeah, they just was okay with shit being beat up.
Because like, even in Times Square in New York, like in the 70s and 80s, it was like just all like peep shows and shit.
Yep. Yeah, it was come a long way. So I just gotta see what the comments say. All right, so it just sounds like they're really just gonna do maintenance. maybe add a fresh coat of paint. So, you know, all right, Hollywood. Well, I think they at least got some sense. Like some things just need to be left alone. So I at least commend them for not going and turning the Hollywood sign woke. All right, we're breezing through these articles, man. I think we're going at them at a good pace. Maybe about 3 to 5 minutes per article. So next one we got up is Children Health Defense. Rockefeller Foundation, nonprofit spending millions on behavioral psychology research to nudge more people to get COVID vaccines. These articles are pretty long. I'm not going to go into a lot of it, but no surprise here. Rockefeller Foundation, National Science Foundation, and other nonprofits are pouring millions into the research initiative to increase uptake of COVID-19 vaccines and other recommended public health measures by countering mis and disinformation. The Rockefeller Center and other nonprofits, blah, blah, blah. Last month, they all announced $7.2 million in funding for the Mercury Project. Together, we could build a healthier information environment. Man, sometimes I get tired of talking about this stuff. However, some critics describe the project as one based on propaganda aimed at nudging the unvaccinated to get vaccinated. So, Conspiracy Brother, your thoughts?
Well, I let me see. Give me 1 second. Well, it's I think ultimately the the uh, the the view share between us is that this is mostly a financial decision, and so I'm not surprised that our government or the elected officials that we have would allow us to be sold out to the highest bidder. And so I think with this whole idea of trying to combat mis and disinformation, what it really is just trying to control thought, right? Because you can't behave as though people spreading lies or rumors or whatever is a problem when we have documented evidence, proof of the government lying, right? The government, presidents, politicians, judges, law enforcement, blatantly lying, right? And to no consequence, right? And so, I mean, this is nothing more than trying to control thought. It's trying to control what people do, and trying to frame this in a way that I think allows for more government overreach as it pertains to enforcement and censorship. When you look at the identity extremists and all this domestic terrorism issues, it allows for the government to take legal action to try to impact how people choose to think or what they choose to say and communicate and what they choose to do as it pertains to their children. So,
man, I think you wrapped it in a nutshell. Man, we can go on plenty about COVID and the establishment and everything they're doing. But we be here all day. All right, next topic on our, once again, those still watching, welcome back to Uncomfy Truths. I'm your host, Conservative Brother, joined by Conspiracy Brother, providing your daily dose of an unapologetic black face trapped in a woke white place, continuing to spread common sense in a nonsense world. All right, so back to Hollywood. Rings of Power, the new Amazon Prime show based on the Lord of the Rings books, condemns racist facing castmates of color. We refuse to ignore it or tolerate it. I don't even know what that even means. Racist, castmates of color. Okay. We'll see what this is. I think there's people maybe calling out like, there were never black people in The Hobbit or, Lord of the Rings, which is true. You know, they had orcs. That was about it. And there's some knock about orcs being black people and all that crap. And you haven't noticed even with the new Game of Thrones show, House of Dragons, they got black guys in there too, which is cool and all. You know, I feel like it's good for, you know, representation, if you will. You know, I don't know. It's just a weird topic. I'm not of the need of, if this is like this old white author that wrote this 50, 70 years ago. And yeah, he only imagined white people in it. I don't need the validation of colored cat of bringing in 2 or 3 brothers into the Lord of the Rings. Like that's white guys universe or whatever it is. But if they want to bring them in, fine. I'm just not cheering it on like, oh my God, thank you. Like, there needs to be every single person that looks like us in every single universe under the sun. I'm like, fine. I'm cool with it. But, you know, let's just go ahead and read this. So, castmates of the Amazon Prime series released a statement condemning the relentless racism, threats, harassment, and abuse some of our castmates of color are being subjected to on a daily basis. So there was another black actress on that new Obi-Wan Kenobi show that apparently there's always a few trolls or, you know, people out there that are going to say racist shit no matter what. But I feel like they are gaslighting this a little bit more between the Star Wars show and this one. The message comes months after epithets and smears surrounding the decision for the producers to populate Middle Earth, including humans, with actors of color. I don't see nothing wrong with it, but Tolkien created a world. So who are these people? Tolkien created a world by which is multicultural. Well, I feel like they're just trying to compensate. A world in which free peoples from different races and cultures join together in fellowship to defeat the forces of evil. Rings of Power reflect that. Our world has never been all white. Fantasy has never been. All right, that's a lie. Like, there were no black people in any of the Lord of the Rings movies. I think maybe The Hobbit had a few. So that was a lie right there. The statement also thanks fans for defending the cast, especially fans of color who are themselves being attacked simply for existing in the fandom. Earlier on Wednesday, Lord of the Rings, Elijah, Billy Boyd, and all of them posted on social media merch features the ears of various tones. You are all here. Welcome. A little virtual signaling for you. In August, Amazon produced a new protocol delaying viewer reviews for 72 hours to weed out racist posts, starting with the series A League of Their Own, but the company has yet to publish any user reviews on Prime Video, Rings of Power, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give my thoughts on this before I forget, Conspiracy Brother, but I think this is a digital example. I get it. There's probably, obviously, there's probably still some racist people out there, some racist white people that are upset with it. But I think a lot of this has the effect of, do you remember when there was like a couple of incidents where somebody wrote like racist slurs on like a wall of a school, and then we found out it was a black person that did it, or they did it just to get a reaction like this? Do you remember those cases that happened a little bit last year?
Yeah, I remember.
I feel like this is kind of similar. Once again, I get it. Racism still exists. This is America. I feel like there's a small minority of that, but I feel like there's a few of those actual racist comments, you know, but at the same time, I want to be shocked if there are other people fueling this stigma, you know, like they want to just create this big gaslight situation, just like the couple people that got caught writing racist slurs. It was people from the own school or people who were black that tried to do that, you know. So, and then they're just kind of using this. You see, America's still racist, it's still going on, and they're kind of overdoing it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm definitely all for diversity. I'm all for, if they want to throw in a bunch of black hobbits and Lord of the Rings, fine with me. I could care less. But I don't know. I just feel like they're politicizing it in a way, or they're gaslighting it more than it is, in my opinion. What do you think?
I think when you really So I've kind of tracked this a little bit. I'm not a fan at all. I wouldn't consider myself
Right.
of Lord of the Rings. I read The Hobbit when I was like 14.
Okay.
But from what I understand, J.R.R. Tolkien created this world to be like a mythology
Right.
for the United Kingdom or Britain or whatever. Like
Okay.
that was his intention. So there are no black people in it.
Right.
Like just as a historical fiction, there wouldn't be black people in it.
Like, let's just be real, because they're just opening almost like they're like apologizing post death for Tolkien. He created a world which is these aren't his words. You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's just cut the bullshit, and continue. Call it for what it is.
So I mean that's the situation ultimately, right?
Mm-hmm.
What people are trying to do, and if you ever heard of a guy, I posted some of his videos, but his name is Eric July. He's black. He's like a comic book person. He actually launched his own comic.
Oh yeah, you told me about him. Yeah.
He's like a libertarian, anarcho-capitalist libertarian, and he talks about this a lot. Where you have black people, like one of his most recent videos, where you have black people or minority people who essentially want the sloppy seconds of white creatives, right? So they're happy with a black Superman because that gives them validation. It gives black people validation, right? It isn't sufficient to come up with your own characters who are black with their own original stories. Right. You want a black Superman. You want a black Batman. You want a black Ariel. You want a black. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want to have unique stories tapping into the mythology of Africa or the Caribbean or traditional black mythology, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to find ways to take white, established, popular, mainstream mythology and then put black faces on it for your own validation. And so, like, I don't get that. Like even when you think about like during the civil rights movement, you had all those like sit-ins and like all that stuff. I'm not a fan of, and I appreciate what all those people did. So I don't want to be misconstrued. But I'm not a fan of
good intentions. They're just so blinded by their their white sympathizer, black sympathizer, apologetic. It just sort of blinds them to what they're doing.
Well, yeah, it's like you have so believed that you were inferior that now the only way to feel like not superior, but just to feel like you have belonged anyway, is that you have to have whatever the white thing is. So like now they got a white Iron Man now called Ironheart. It's a black female. I mean, not a white Iron Man. It's a black female Iron Man, right? Like that's how they have to do it. And so like with here, a lot of people are upset because not only is the show it's not written well, right? Because J.R.R. Tolkien died. His son died like a couple years ago. His son was like 80. So he died a long time ago. So you don't have his tone. You're not really being careful with the material, the source material, right? You're not giving it the reverence that the fan base thinks it deserves. But then you're doing this, and it's something you can look this up too, called fan baiting. A lot of people have been talking about it, and they say it gained fan baiting, and it gained a lot of popularity with Ghostbusters 2016. But they say the first time it actually happened was during the Fantastic Four when they had Michael B. Jordan playing the Human Torch. And what the intention is like the movie company, the production company, whatever, the director, whoever it is, because they know what they're producing is not good. What they do is try to create as much controversy as they can so that they can get people to watch it and talk about it, right? And so they do things that intentionally antagonize the fan base, which is what you see Disney doing with all their live action remakes.
Little Mermaid,
what you see happening, right? What you see happening with the Phase 4 of Marvel, right? Where you see they're taking women, they're taking male characters and making them female. They're taking white characters and making them black, whatever. Now, the funny thing for me though is historically we've seen white actors cast in roles that would be some other race, minority or whatever. and there hasn't been a problem. So it's funny that the shoe's on the other foot and they don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you remember the movie Gods of Egypt, right? I think Colin Farrell was like the main actor. Yeah, well, you know, some people try to say, oh, well, you know, Cleopatra was white. You know, that was a mixed area, whatever. Okay. The gods of Egypt wouldn't be white people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what characters they were, if they were the gods or if they were the people, but nobody looked like Colin Farrell would have been in charge in Egypt, right? Because it's still a desert. It might be Mediterranean or whatever, but it's still a desert location, right? Especially in those times. And so, like, you have to, or like you look at the movie Ghost in the Shell, where it's an anime, it's a movie based off an anime, which is to say Japanese, and you see Scarlett Johansson playing the main character, who, you know, a lot of people are upset that it wasn't an Asian person. Yeah. So, like, we see this happening historically, right? You see these kinds of things happening historically. Even let's say we'll keep it within a quote unquote race. Zoe Saldana played Nina Simone in the movie, and Nina Simone is significantly darker than Zoe Saldana.
Oh, what was that?
Zoe Saldana from her first movie that I'm aware of was like Drumline. She was like the main girl. He was.
Oh yeah, I remember her in Drumline. Yep, I remember that 20 years ago.
And she played Nina Simone, who was a singer, activist, political activist. Like, they call her the what do they call her? The not the empress of the civil rights movement, but like the something of the civil rights movement. Like, she made a lot of political music about the social condition of black people and politics in America and all that stuff. Like,
she had one called Mississippi Goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of her more famous ones, but, you know, Misunderstood. You know, I mean, she's somebody I like to listen to a lot. Somebody that I look up to her courage and stuff like that. Okay, but, like, we've seen this happen, and so, you know, so on that one hand, I'm kind of on the fence, but it seems like the issue is trying to shoehorn your identity into places that you don't belong, instead of creating your own stories. And so this is why it becomes a money hungry thing. It's not about allyship. It's not about diversity. It's about money. Because if these corporations really believed in the black people they claim to believe in, they would make new stories, elevate these black people, give them an opportunity to create new intellectual properties that elevate black stories organically. But you can't do that. So you got to make a black Superman. You got to make a black Iron Man. You got to make a black Ariel. You got to make a black Hobbit. You know what I'm saying? You got to make a black elf. Even though this is supposed to be in Europe and it's mythology of Europe, you know, what if we watch like Shaka Zulu? I mean, even like I said, The Last Samurai was Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise or whatever. So Paul Mooney had that joke. I'm going to make a movie called The Last Nigga on Earth starring Tom Hanks. But, like, what if that was the case, right? Then we would be up in arms if Shaka Zulu was starring Robert Pattinson, right? Exactly. And he was one of the Africans. And so, you know, we have to understand that. But what they're trying to do, there might even be a large section of people who are disgruntled with the movie simply because Halle Bailey is black and because Ariel is now black. But the greater issue is that, and you see all this is a media campaign to try to elevate this so that if you talk bad about this movie, that it makes you look bad as a person, not like you have a sincere critique. Like me, one of my favorite movies growing up, the cast is horrible. I don't even know if Melissa McCarthy can sing, but they got her playing Ursula, right? Javier Bardem, you can barely understand him speaking. He's playing King Triton. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the guy playing Sebastian the Crab, David Diggs, I believe is his name, from Hamilton. You know, is Sebastian still going to have a Jamaican accent? What, you know, Nora Lum is going to be playing Scuttle the seagull, right? And so we're going to have this photorealistic looking fish and seagulls and all these sea creatures and animals, and they're simultaneously going to talk to people, and it's going to be creepy. The cast is horrible.
This is going to look like a cross between Cats and fucking oh my god, it's about to be Cats meets what was the other movie that did pretty bad? Yeah, Cats gonna be a part of it.
Yeah. But see, I actually enjoyed Cats. I saw Cats, and I enjoyed it because, you know, when you look at the play, it really fits the play as good as it could. You know what I'm saying? But look at this cat. You know what I'm saying? Like, Disney never learned from Aladdin when they made Aladdin with Robin Williams. They misunderstood why it was successful, right? And
Yep.
I'm off on a tangent, so forgive me. But Robin Williams really, the genie role was made for him. And so after he was so successful in that role, Disney started to cast big time, big name actors for their characters. It used to just be, people who had a history in voice acting and who had a history in Broadway because they were all singing or, had in musical theater. But, Holly Bailey can sing, she sings well. I don't have a problem with her singing.
Right.
I mean, can Melissa McCarthy sing?
I don't think Ursula, to Ursula's credit, Melissa's credit, I don't think Ursula had a song. Was she singing?
No, she did. Poor Unfortunate Souls was probably her biggest number.
Yeah.
That was my movie growing up. Poor Unfortunate Souls was her song, and it requires a lot of skill. It requires a lot of stage presence. Like you need to be able to have, you need to have a history in like cabaret singing almost to give that song. The lady who played Ursula died just, I think, 2 years ago. And so, like, can Melissa McCarthy pull that off? Absolutely not. Right? Will Smith couldn't pull off singing the songs in Aladdin.
Oh, man.
Right? Emma Watson couldn't pull off singing the songs in Beauty and the Beast. But what Disney is doing, because they're creatively bankrupt, is they hope that they can, just like when people saw Black Panther, and I don't know if Black Panther was good or not because I never saw it. I don't really watch movies like that. Nope, never saw it. I don't watch movies like that. I just don't. I don't go to the movies like that. But they hope that this can make black people go see the movie 10 times because you create this rift. So now the white people don't want to see it. That's the narrative that you paint because they're racist. But so the black people, I'm going to go see it. Even grown people who don't have kids are going to go see it because it's got a black princess. I'm going to see it 5 or 6 times. And so now we're in this situation.
Yeah. Oh, girl.
Instead of letting the movie live or die by its own merit, right? Whether it's good or bad. I saw this movie, and I'm going to tell people I know that it was bad. You'll go see it, it'll be bad, and then you'll still tell people to see it, and you'll go see it 5 more times because you have an agenda. You feel like you have a personal stake in this. It's not just enjoying this for entertainment's sake. So I would encourage everybody to go look up what fan baiting is. It's important to understand the media that we have today and why it always seems to want to antagonize its fan base and especially Disney, right? Because Marvel is Disney, Star Wars is Disney. They're making a new Indiana Jones movie where they're going to potentially have a female Indiana Jones go back in time. And Indiana Jones is going to be killed in his youth, and she's going to take up the mantle of Indiana Jones. So honestly, it's like they intentionally want to antagonize their fan base. That's because they know they don't have good ideas anymore. How can we make the most aggravating movie so that somebody goes to see them out of anger or that they're still talked about? You see what I'm saying? It's
Bro, conspiracy brother, I think you just gave a master class there and just summed it up. I never heard about fan baiting, let alone woke fan baiting before this, but it makes absolute sense. You condition black people for us to always treasure that other IP, the other white man's universe he created, instead of us trying to pour our own resources into, and not even creating new IP. But think about all the other black authors out there that created their own universes with their own stories. And once again, we don't get the time of day because they just want to go in here and create this screwed up crap. And man, I think you couldn't have summed it up even better. I got no more words, but definitely, y'all. Once again, we get to the nitty gritty out here. Uncomfortable truths, spreading unapologetic black faces trapped in a woke white place, continuing to spread common sense in a nonsense world. Here's our next thing. I know we're getting a little over here. We're heading into an hour, so we'll probably wrap it up 1 or 2 articles after this. But once again, Biden and his creepy red, just pretty much talking down on us. The Democrats want a fundamental transformation of America, similar to, I can't even say that word, French resolutions, to purge Christians from public life and abolish religious freedom as we know it. They get a little extreme here. LifeSite News, they can they go off a little far right. But I would just say, what are your initial thoughts, conspiracy brother, on Biden's speech? I don't know if it was directly declaring war on conservative Christians, but I think there was some subliminals there. What are your thoughts with this madman?
Well, I see. This is again, it's the same mentality as fan baiting, right? Because what it does
Whoa,
is
wait,
you
hold on.
create.
Seriously, brother, you're coming in a little staticky. I don't know what happened.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I don't know if it's. Can you? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, let's see. Fans watching. So
On my end, I'm hearing like this weird static to your voice now.
okay, am I good?
Yeah, you're good now. You're good.
Okay. And so this is kind of the same thing as the fan baiting before, right?
Yeah.
You know, because he ran on this whole thing of unity and trying to get the country together and going on this unity tour and all this bullshit or whatever. Right. That was what his whole campaign was about. But what they realize is that if they can get people to look at this as a personal attack on them and their beliefs and ideology, and not, you know, hey, you're the president, you owe us something. You're supposed to do something for us. We expect something for our vote and for our, you know, tax money or whatever. Your son is making all these $1 million or $100,000 or tens of thousands of dollars a month, and he's a drug addict. And all my family who's been a drug addict, whether you're black or white, has gone to jail or died young, or they've never gotten these amount of chances. And your son is just raking it in. He's been seen in videos with what appears to be underage women, what appears to be crack cocaine, what appears to be him smoking crack, having a gun when he's a felon, kicked out of the military reserve, the Navy reserves, testing positive for cocaine, stuff like that, right? So what he has to do is try to cause further division, right? So, you know, not to mention the optics of it looking very much like, you know, a Mussolini or Hitler speech or a Stalin speech, right? Where you see, or like a Star Wars where you have Darth Vader or the Emperor speaking, and you know, it gives the cloak. Right, it gives you the optics of evil, right? But just what he's saying, his intention is to continue to create division because he knows that he doesn't have anything to run on. He doesn't have anything to offer the American people, right? But if you can get Democrats to believe that he's on your side and he's just got to get these stupid Republicans or these stupid conservatives, then maybe they can still hold on by the skin of their teeth during the midterms. Right. And so, I mean, as far as divisiveness, as far as the rhetoric, you know, he creates a very us versus them mentality as it pertains to Democrats and Republicans. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. So when I say us, I mean that in the general, generic way. But he creates a very us versus them dichotomy. And so you can see that he doesn't have anything to offer people. But if he can antagonize the fan base, maybe he can keep a job.
Yep. And I like this point right here. The non-insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th doesn't compare to a summer of, you know, the summer 2020 riots. And of course, obviously, BLM, we have our issues with them. I know there were peaceful BLM protesters there that aren't aware of all the corruption of the organization. Then, of course, you got Antifa mixed up in there. On top of that, you got convicted felons who got released out of the prisons the months prior. So it is a really big mess. So, you know, it's just a headache, as you can see, that we got Biden here really just taking on all the traits of what a dictator is and condemning half the country. There's MAGA supporters. Once again, I don't identify as Republican. I want to identify as MAGA, but there are some traits and things I do agree with them on. And to just paint everybody, half the country as domestic terrorists, you know, all like a granddad just kind of lecturing you, like, who is this old motherfucker? It's just very telling of kind of where we're at. Like, oh, I'm going to create unity. No, you don't. You want obedience. You want submissiveness and antagonizing and demonizing anyone that disagrees with your regime. You know, and it's just very telling, and just downright creepy. I don't know what else to say about this guy. Let's see here. All right. We're gonna do one more conspiracy, brother. Two more. What do you got left?
We can do 1, 2 more. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. All right. Getting that static again. Okay. All right, back to woke Hollywood. What do we got? I don't know if I renew my Daily Wire account, so we might not be able to read this whole article. But let's see. Um, Hilarious and sad. Hollywood A-lister mocked for seeing Tucker Carlson haunts her nightmares. Who could forget that face? Jennifer Lawrence admitted to having nightmares about Fox News host Tucker Carlson on a regular basis. I've been trying to heal after feuding with family members over politics and said that recurring nightmares of Tucker Carlson were a topic of discussion. Her comments appeared in a recent Vogue interview. Yeah, so she announced she's having a baby. Good for her. Sigh. Baby named Sigh. What the hell? Critics quickly took to Twitter to mock the award winner for her comments. Rightly so. And then just everybody's talking shit about her. In the same interview, the Hunger Stars star noted she had been at odds with a more conservative family member since 2016 election. A rift that only deepened when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Hey, I worked so hard the last 5 years to forgive my dad and family. Try to understand it's different. And then it had deepened when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. I worked so hard to forgive my dad. So you're blaming your dad. How dare you, Dad, who gave me life, who cared for me, who probably helped me, partly responsible for the position I'm in. And now you're just, oh, no, this Freddy Krueger one. Oh, I got to screenshot that one. But Conspiracy Brother, can we get your thoughts on this hilarious,
Well, I mean, they're all actors.
You're
Static
again. Static again.
What about now?
No, you did something that I don't know what you did, but
is it still messed up?
I hear it bad on my end, but I don't know if it's gonna translate to the recording or not. I just know it,
Is it am I bad now?
Yeah, you're good now. Whatever you just did now, you're good.
So you have to understand that these people are actors, and so they get paid to pretend, and they're very good at it, right? Because they're completely devoid of anything that resembles what a normal human being's life is like. What you see here with this foolishness, she's rich. She can still go get an abortion, right?
Right.
She don't really care, right? Because if she did really care that badly, I don't know. She could do some advocacy, right? Stop making movies. Go do some advocacy.
Yeah.
Right. Invest your energy and time into doing something more productive. But this is just an easy way for people who are not politically involved or motivated at all to try to drum up brownie points. You could have just assumed that most of the people who see Jennifer Garner's movies are not conservative. And so she feels like she can score brownie points with her fan base. It's the same thing. People understand that if they can get their fans to emotionally lock into who they are or a topic, a situation, a scenario, that they can keep them stuck forever. So, ultimately, why do you care any more about abortion rights than you care about all the hungry homeless kids in America? And I'm not saying that those aren't issues. I'm saying what makes you so much more upset about Roe versus Wade being overturned than for homelessness or for homeless children or any of these other issues that already exist, that were already an issue. And when you understand the Supreme Court, how come you aren't upset that the legislature, the Democratic legislature, for 50 years hadn't ever codified abortion as a law in this country? Right? So it's just easy to do these kind of talking points, try to make yourself seem like you're down for the cause when really you aren't, right? You haven't invested any energy and time. Now, I don't know her personally. Maybe she does. Maybe she does campaigning. Maybe she does donations. I don't know. But I'm just speaking in general. This is just an easy way for people to claim to be concerned with a certain issue and really they're not. It's just like when people say, oh, I'll pray for you. People post on Facebook, they're going through some traumatic event, and people put, "Oh, I'm praying for you," and they don't even leave the computer. They just scroll through the next whatever post they're looking at.
No,
I mean, it's that easy to just say that I'm praying for you. So, Tucker Carlson haunts my dreams. I'm not thinking about Tucker Carlson anymore than I'm thinking about Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon or
Right.
you know what I'm saying, any of these people, because I have actual stuff going on in my life. Inflation is 20% if you lucky. I don't have time to think about Tucker Carlson.
Oh man. I think that just summed it up right there, brother. Man. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. I almost said my first name. Conservative brother here with Conspiracy Brother, bringing you another episode of Uncomfy Truths on spreading common sense in a nonsense world. We're at episode 6. Look out for it. Episode 5 should be dropping or already dropped. Feel free to follow us on Rumble. They're on Odyssey as well. And yeah, guys. We will see you guys next time. Stay awake, not woke. And hurry up. All right.
I second that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Stay awake, not woke. Awake.
Peace, everybody.